And I mean, right, I don't mean that every time someone criticizes another person or makes a suggestion that it's manipulation. Oh, good Lord, no. Because remember, I started early on saying, as a writer, you have to be open to criticism and change. Even, by the way, right, even if somebody you think really is like such a rival and they want to cut you down, listen to their criticism anyway, because they may have a point. If it rubs them, if something that the way you wrote something rubs them that doesn't work and they're latching it onto it to criticize you, well, nevertheless, maybe you should fix that. So yeah, no, it's not always, meant as a form of control, but that is one sign of someone who's doing this, of an alienator, a manipulator. As you said, what is the motivation?
Everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter, the author podcast. We get to meet great authors from around the world, hear about their journey, hear about what they're working on. Fran has just released her book, and it's exciting. We're all cheering, yay! And she's here to talk about it today. I'm so excited to have her here and hear a little bit more about what she's up to. Fran, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. Glad to have you on the show.
Hey, thank you for inviting me. International, right?
International, right? And it's super cold everywhere. Everybody I talk to is cold. Fran, where are you cold today?
My whole body. Oh, but also New York.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
New York City. Yeah. Yeah, I had to actually go out and shovel before this. But it was good.
Right?
Got me going.
Yeah. Do you guys get like snow like piling up like that often in New York?
Not anymore. When I first moved here, we had storms that, were big and you couldn't drive and close school and I couldn't pick up my daughter and stuff. And but with climate change, today is the first significant snow we've had in years.
Well, we get our share up in Canada. So anytime you're longing for some snow, I'll put it in a box and I'll send it to you.
I did spend my formative years, about 10 years or so, in California, which is the setting of my newest book. Oh, a little plug. But seriously,
well done.
I have to tell people I'm really a California wimp, when it comes to weather. So I don't need your snow. No, thanks.
Right. No, you don't mean? Okay, well, I'm just offering it because I have plenty. Yeah. So I'm happy to send it to you if you need some. This is great. Friend, your book is out. Congratulations on that. That's really exciting. We have authors who listen to the show, Fran, and they come here to get inspiration from another author, somebody who's done something that maybe my listener is just starting the process to do. So authors brand new to writing, they've got an idea, a concept, but the finish line seems like it's forever away from them. But you're here. You've done it. So you know things. If you could go back to the beginning of writing your book and hear inspiration from another author, what kind of things would have helped you at the beginning of writing this book that maybe we can share with somebody listening today?
Well, it's funny. So this is, I don't know, 10th book or something. My third novel. I should be like saying instead of this. It's called Her Daughter. It's a novel. It's my third novel, published novel. I've been writing novels since I was 4 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and and I guess this one I've been working on off and on for 10 years, and I published my other two novels in between, while I put this one aside. So you'd think, wow, what did I learn in those 10 years? Well, for one thing, I learned from publishing other novels, Well, I guess one thing that would have saved me a lot of grief back then is it's really true about throwing out your darlings. It really, really is true. The famous quote. I clung to a beginning through, 10 drafts or something. And, you really need, I think it's so important to show it to other people. Hire a professional editor, but also show it to readers who are not professionals, but who love to read, who read in your genre, of course. And you have to be open to, change. And I guess, I clung to that opening for too long and lost some potential publishers because, like the acquisitions editor or the agent would first read it and really loved it. And then they saw that they were disappointed. It didn't go anywhere till finally a hired editor pointed out that the way it was set up could not go anywhere. And, I think back to those bigger publishers who, if I had been open to changing the beginning, I might have had a bigger publisher back then. I mean, of course, I went through other changes too, and might have still been too flawed. But anyway, so I would say, those first drafts, you have to be flexible. You have to be really willing to tear up the parts.
Right. So you've been writing for a long time.
Yeah, since I was 4, I say more or less.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, I
Wow.
can't. I wrote books before I knew how the alphabet. Now that's nothing unusual. Plenty of kids think they're going to be writers, and they write their books.
Yeah.
Most kids drop it along the way. I was so serious that in middle school, I actually sent it off to then a book off to what I did not know was a vanity press. And they wrote back, dear Fran, please contact us again when you're old enough to sign a contract. I was absolutely serious, and I think that's one thing that's it might have seemed foolish, except here I am, and I finally did publish a few. So, maybe you really do have to keep at it.
So for readers, there's a lot to pick from your back catalog of things you've written. Can you kind of give us an overview of some of the other books that you've written for readers so they can come and fall in love with what you do?
Oh, thanks.
There's a lot.
Yeah, thanks. Well, okay, so the nonfiction, I did I had several specialties. One was the pharma drug industry. I did a book about the Food and Drug Administration back in, what was it, 2005, which, wow, looks so antiquated and hopeful now. I mean, then it was a real agency that had real doctors and believed in true medicine, even if it was too influenced by politics and the drug companies. That's like so innocent compared to today. Anyway, then I worked in the financial, I wrote about the financial industry. And then I kind of put all that together with my interest in politics and activism, and got really into consumer activism for my last couple of major nonfiction books. My favorite is called Ethical Chic, which looks at 6 companies we think we love, and whether they're as good as we think they are. Trader Joe's, Apple, what were some of the others? Starbucks, and that was a lot of fun. So then,
Interesting.
but I was always writing novels on the side, and I finally, for a combination of reasons, sort of knuckled under and said, "Okay, let's do it." So then I switched to novels, and like I said, this is my 3rd published novel, Her Daughter. And that's interesting. Is there a common theme? I do, so far, write about different sorts of family relationships. The families are, the ones I know, middle class, professional, female protagonist. Oh, I'll keep experimenting. I hope expanding. But whether it's fiancés, whether it's mother-daughter, as in Her Daughter, where it's mother and her young daughter, or in the first novel, it was grown woman and her elderly mother. The one I'm writing now, that's not out yet because it's not finished yet, is about sisters. And I always make sure they're set in a different location in the United States. Maybe I'll get to Canada, but for now, United States, where I have lived or worked or feel like I'm comfortable. I know. That's why I said Her Daughter, my newest, is set in California, because I did live my formative years there. And I had so much fun researching it because I went out there and I walked every single step of, the Santa Monica Beach. And I went up to Humboldt County and the National Forest there. And I said, all the places I went to, the Madonna Inn, which is this crazy restaurant. And so that's always fun to go back to the places you think you knew. And, oh, wait a second. That's my journalism background coming in. I have got to get the facts right. So those are a few common threads. And hey, people have ideas of topics I should write for my 5th one. I love it. I steal, fiction writers steal. Okay. We, this is a nasty secret.
Yeah.
We overhear conversations. In my first novel, The Heirs, which is a 2nd-generation Holocaust novel, it's about, 2 families in New Jersey, because I worked my first journalism job was in New Jersey. And one is a Polish Jewish family of Holocaust survivors, the next generation. The other was a Polish Catholic family that the parents were born in Poland after the war. And so it's how these two generations after the war, the Jewish family, how the sort of knee-jerk reaction to the Polish Catholic family and how they cope with, what did you do what did your parents do during the war? What was I getting at? Oh, the stealing. Because there's so many paths I could take from that book. There's one family, it's a paragraph in that book about how a different family got out of Poland before the war. And I stole that from a trip I took, one of these Jewish heritage trips where you go back to Eastern Europe, where your family came from. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I visited the house where my dad was born. I mean, the school he went to. It was amazing. Anyway, one person on that trip told the story of how his family got out. And I stole that from my book. And I told him, and he was fine. That's what I'm saying. We do that. So listen, I'd love to hear from people listening to this who say things like, you should write about this. Tell me more.
Yeah.
But first of all, if it's your idea, you should write it too,
So you're pulling from a lot of different inspiration points to create your stories. Yeah. And one thing interesting as I go through your books, I'm looking on your Amazon page right now, all of your different books that you write, you can see kind of your progression as a writer and the different things that were important at that time for you to write about. And then you move to another topic and you move on to something different. But all of these things, if you combine them all together, that's you, right? At different points in your life, different interests, different things that captivated your thoughts and your attention. But all of these things combined, I think every book rests on the last book. I think all of these things are super important, right? You're kind of building on top of each other.
I mean, first of all, I put a lot of work into each one. So I love that. And I care about each one. I care about every single word. I obsess about, words, and I say them out loud and how they sound. So I hope each one gets better.
Right.
And I can see that they're better. And like the first novel didn't win any awards. The second novel won or was a finalist for like 7 awards. So hopefully they get better.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And they're different stages. And the FDA book, for example, the nonfiction book Inside the FDA. Well, that clearly built on my first nonfiction book, which was about the drug company Merck. I mean, there's obviously an overlap. First, I'm writing about the drug industry. That leads me to thinking about the Food and Drug Administration.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So there's definitely some obvious building. Yeah. Yeah,
because there's authors that come on the show sometimes, Fran, and I bring up their older books, and they're like, "Oh, I don't even want to talk about that. That was a lifetime ago. I don't even talk about that book anymore." Like they dismiss it. But I'm like, you wouldn't be here today had you not written that first original book, right? That was kind of the thing that unlocked writing for you. And they're like, yeah, but the information's out of date and, it's not relevant anymore, but it's still a piece of you. So I always like to come back to these authors and look back at their catalog and celebrate their journey, right? And I think as authors, even if you've written many books, I had one author on has 60 books. He's like, I've forgotten about some of the books I've written, right? But they're all important and they all build upon each other over time. Even if they're in different topics and different subject matter, they all build upon each other, right? So I just want to celebrate the fact that you have so many things for people to fall in love with.
Thank you.
I think that's great. Yeah.
Although in fairness, in fact, the nonfiction books, some of them are out of date, both mine and other people's. So,
Right.
But sure, in terms of, first of all, in terms of my journey, clearly. And secondly, none of my books is 100% out of date. And for that matter, if you care about the topic, let's say the drug industry or Wall Street and how the corporate raiders work, you do need to understand the history. So, anyway, yeah. So thank you for caring about my old books.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so what's the inspiration for her daughter then? You talk about it being a connection to home in California, but story-wise, what's the connection to you as an author? Or maybe who did you steal this idea from, Fran?
I never.
No? Okay, good.
I've never stolen the overwhelming topic of my novels.
Okay, good.
I said little pieces, overheard conversations.
Yeah.
Although there's often a trigger. I
Yeah.
mean, the trigger
Right.
for the heirs was clear, but I won't get sidetracked. The trigger for this one was meeting people who had gone through this horrible kind of situation. I mean, there's a kind of phenomenon that's called parental alienation. It's a form of gaslighting in a way, um,
Mm.
wherein one parent deliberately turns the child or children against the other parent. And it's not just a normal divorce thing because people think, oh, divorcing kids are a weapon. And that is horribly true too often. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something that's a behavioral pattern in a marriage that may continue, for example. Um, Maybe started long before there was a divorce. Maybe there is no divorce and never will be, or it continues long after the divorce and the custody is settled. And, you know, so it's not simply sounds hard. It's not a divorce tactic. It's much more than that. It's a form of psychological abuse. One person called it psychological kidnapping. Yeah.
Mm.
Because physically it happens too. In other words, I don't mean violence. And there may be no violence. That's irrelevant. But physically, in the sense that when the one parent, and most of the time it's the father, though I have met men who have been victims of this by their wives, but typically the father will so manipulate and brainwash the kids that they
Mm.
actually go live with them and cut out the mother. So that's what I'm talking about. It is a form of physical sometimes kidnapping, although not again. It's not somebody with a mask on their face and a gun, you know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and it's just I couldn't believe how many people I would hear from, and especially after I started writing too, and I would tell people what I was writing, or it came out now that it's out, and people mentioning, oh, I going through that. I know somebody's going through that. It's horribly true. I mean, there are statistics that 13 million Americans, 20 million Americans have been involved in a situation like this, including the kids and
Mm.
including
Right.
the people perpetrating it. It was things like that. 13% of families, so I guess if the statistics must be true because I'm just little me and the people I hear from in my relatively small universe. Well, anyway, as a parent myself, I mean, it's just a horrible thought, So I thought,
Right.
I couldn't let this go, in essence.
It sounds like a process over time too, where one parent turns their kids against another parent. It's not something that happens like over a
Oh
weekend.
no,
It happened over a longer period of
yeah,
time, and little things build upon
yeah,
little things,
yeah,
and right, and then a whole belief is created in the eyes of the kids about the other parent that's being spoken about, to the point where they build this false world around that parent and then alienate. Is that kind of where you're going in the book as
yeah,
well?
yeah,
Yeah.
and also, okay, the second parent gets gaslighted as well to
Yeah.
have self-doubt and
Right.
doesn't fight back, doesn't realize what's happening, doesn't know how to fight back. In fact, I tell you something. I give away a secret. I know you were going to ask me to read from the book, and I was going to read something else, but there is a little scene. You can tell me
Oh,
whether this works for you. Um,
okay.
uh, it's showing how it works early in the marriage when the daughter's 3 years old. This is written from the point of view of the mom, no, of the mother of her daughter, where, as far as the mother thinks, this is a marriage. It's in it for the long haul. No one has ever suggested divorce. No cheating, no violence, none of those stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
and it's what the husband does to her. This is to the mother now. The husband with the mother is so subtle. I'm hoping
Mm.
readers will see it. The mother is starting to see it. This is not Charles Boyer and Ingrid Bergman, right? And her going
Yeah.
crazy in the movie. This is not that. But let me
Yeah.
try this, okay?
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. This is awesome.
Yeah. And I'm not going to read the whole scene. I was like, I'm cutting it short because, the way.
Yeah.
It's hard to have someone read to you forever. Okay. Oh, so the mother's name is Alice, the father is
Okay.
Dan, and the daughter is Esme. Okay. And so
Okay.
the daughter is
Yep.
3 years old. Alice, have you looked at Esme's preschool recently? Well, of course. I bring her there and pick her up every day, almost every day. 2 girls were crying when I dropped Esme off this morning, and no one was paying attention to them. The floor was filthy, total chaos. I've never noticed any filth, Dan. That's because you never pay attention to anything. Well, that's not true. I'm always seeing her, doing fun things. Halfway turning away from Dan, Alice opened a door in the cabinet closest to her above the kitchen counter, as if she desperately needed to pull out a can of something. Remember that little clay statue she made? All the pictures she draws? She has a great time there. A clay statue, Alice? Really? That's the most important criterion? I'm skipping ahead a little. They've been having more conversation. Really, Alice? Dan took his mug of coffee from the counter. Why do you view this conversation as criticizing you? It's not about you. It's about our daughter's best interest. Moving to another part of the counter away from Dan, Alice toweled a couple of dishes from the drying rack. Well, of course she wasn't against her daughter's best interest. Why was Dan twisting her words? Is the most important thing her health and safety? Dan asked blandly from behind her back. And happiness and friends. Very true. So, she couldn't avoid turning fully around, face to face with him any longer. He was smiling. I know you'll want to visit these 3 venues that I'm suggesting before we make any decision. I've already been to them, and I was very impressed. Their staffing ratios, their educational programs, too, which you didn't mention in your analysis. And yes, of course, it should be a place where Esme will have fun. Walking over to Alice, he kissed her cheek. It couldn't hurt to visit a couple of other preschools.
Interesting.
Okay, I don't know. So, that's the kind of subtle manipulation.
Right.
That doesn't count in and of itself. It's a discussion,
Right. Exactly. It seems almost harmless in a sense. It's just like a typical conversation. The whole thing about not noticing the filthy floors.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm listening to that going, if I was the parent that didn't notice the filthy floor, I'd feel like guilty. Like, how did I not see that? Was the floor filthy? Why would I not notice? Right? Like, I'm thinking in my head, now I'm starting to doubt myself.
Exactly.
And be like, why am I not so, why are you so aware? And why am I so unaware? And I should be better. Right? That's what I'm feeling.
Great.
I'm feeling
great. It hit you. Yes, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
And
right?
so you get one of those. There's no violence. There's no threats. There's no fighting.
No, nothing. No.
But you pile them on. And it's a form of manipulation. And
Control,
eventually,
right?
now the daughter's 3 years old. She's not hearing it, right?
Yeah.
But sooner. But if she hears, she'll hear a child's version of that. Oh, mommy never notices, does she? Yeah.
Right.
I have scenes like that too. I don't know. I chose that scene because it's kind of a classical, scene.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the kind of, building up, and then it gets worse until, because it has to start so subtly that there's nothing for Alice or for the mother to grab onto. It has to build up.
It's interesting to think of it from his point of view. Like, is he waking up with some diabolical plan to manipulate his wife? Or is he just being him? And over a long period of time, he develops into this kind of manipulation, right? Is that manipulation something he decided to do, or he's found himself doing, right? I don't know. Like, it's not a clear answer for everybody, but for your characters, do you think that he is just a manipulative person over a long period of time, or is he kind of just found his way into that spot?
No offense, but I'm not going to answer that because I don't want to. I want readers to think about it themselves. Good. Okay.
That's a hook then.
Okay, well, whatever.
I like that. That's good,
I don't like to
that.
make it too easy.
Yeah.
That's one of the skills a person has to learn, a writer has to learn.
Yeah.
I think readers, your readers can tell me, but I'm a reader too. And I think we get frustrated if things come
Right.
out of the blue. That's no. You know, tricks, no. You know,
Yeah.
some readers like more things tied up at the end than other readers. Okay, fair enough. Um, but we don't. Most readers don't like everything pounded into their head and explained.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most readers
Right.
like to feel they solved a puzzle. You know, I
Hmm.
shouldn't say most, but
Yeah.
many readers like to feel that. You know,
Yeah.
It-
That slow
yeah,
burn. The story develops over
yeah.
time and takes you along on a journey. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just, as a human, listening and observing that conversation, I'm like, have I seen this before? Have I felt it in different contexts? An employee, an employer at a job, or a parent to a child to a parent, right? There's a lot of different ways that this two best friends, somebody saying, you could be better at fill in the blank. You could be a better speaker. You could be more confident, right? Why are you so not confident in your
That makes you,
speech,
yeah.
right? It's like, right, and you're like, oh, now I'm conscious of I'm
And
not
also,
confident
the
anymore. Like there's a
the
lot
the
of right.
classic. I don't mean to criticize you, but right, or
Yeah. Oh,
I
that's
really
one.
love
Yeah.
you, but whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
It's interesting because I don't think in all situations it's somebody wanting power
oh,
over you,
and yes,
but it's yeah.
and I mean, right. I don't mean that every time someone criticizes another person or makes a suggestion that
Yeah.
it's manipulation. Oh, good Lord, no. Because remember, I started
Yeah.
early on saying, as a writer, you have to be open to criticism and change. Um,
Right. Yeah.
even by the way, right, even if somebody you think really is like such a rival and they want to cut you down, listen to their criticism anyway, because they may have a point. Um, if it
Yeah.
rubs them, if something that the way you wrote something rubs them that doesn't work, and they're latching it onto it to criticize you, well, nevertheless, maybe you should fix that. Um, so yeah, no, it's not always, uh, meant as a form of control, but that is one sign of
Yeah.
someone who's doing this, of a alienator, a manipulator. As you said, what is the motivation?
So for your book, what kind of time frame are we seeing between the relationship between the mother and daughter? You talked there in that reading that the daughter's quite young, but are we kind of seeing this relationship between mother and daughter over a period of time
Oh,
then
oh
through your
yeah, as
book?
you said, after all, it all takes time to develop. It starts, in fact,
Yeah.
and it says, we know the reader knows this from early on. Alice wants kids and Dan doesn't. So it starts before Alice is even
Oh
pregnant.
wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it ends, the daughter is 24, 25. So it's going,
Okay.
it starts in what, like 1984 and ends in 2009. So yeah, a long, and this is something, one of the dangers
Mm.
of writing a fairly present day novel that's not exactly present day. For example, one of the people who read it said, why doesn't she look on Facebook? Well, in 2003, Facebook was not a thing for the general public,
Right.
just to give an example. And I had to
Right.
write in little things like, when she finally, as the book goes on, she says a few chapters after that, there's this new thing called Facebook that mostly college students were using, but
Right.
stuff. And I had to keep track and do research too. Starts out with landlines only, then it moves to cell phones, then
Mm-hmm.
smartphones, right? And yeah,
Right.
I have to remember what year each chapter is, so I know what kind of phone they're using. You know, So,
Mm-hmm.
because when you read a book set, I mean, even in the 1940s or 60s, let alone the 1780s, there are no smartphones. But when you read a book
Yeah.
that's in the 90s and aughts, you just kind of think, oh, that's maybe not the 90s, but the aughts. You think that's today, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
your phones had cameras. No,
Right.
they didn't. In the early aughts, they sure did not. You know?
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, when people have a natural reaction like Facebook, well, just go to Facebook or just text them or send them a DM or something. You're like, well, there's no social platforms. There's none of that stuff, right? You have to we did things differently.
Yeah.
And especially if you didn't grow up in that time
Yeah.
frame or you were very
Yeah.
young, you wouldn't
Yeah.
understand,
Yeah.
right? So
I
that's
think that's
good.
the worst
A
time
lot of
frame to
research
set a
then.
book in it. And the one I'm writing now also is set in like 2009. Why am I doing this? I think to set it from like 2010 onward, cool. I mean, social media did
Yeah.
change, but still, most of the stuff that we have now was then, or before 2000, Why am I
Right.
stupidly choosing these in between time frames? Bear with me, readers, please. you know.
Yeah. So there's a lot of research, and that goes back to your
Mm.
journalism days. It goes back to the other books you've written in the
Yeah,
past. So research is super important for you to get things
yeah.
right when you're a writer, right?
Yeah, and it's my journalism training. It definitely, and it nags me. Okay, so I tell this story. There are some important scenes that I mentioned, I think, set in Humboldt County, which is way north California, national forest there. Okay. And I've never been there, so I flew up. There were two daily flights from San Francisco up there, got the flight. Um, and I rent a car and I map out the route. I go, you know, tooling down the highway. Long story, okay, I missed the cutoff to the forest. Okay, I'm like an hour out of my way. I go, what the hell? I'm in the wrong spot. Where am I? I have to turn around. Okay, now I have, remember, two flights a day. I have only one flight that I can catch back to San Francisco to catch my flight to New York. I zoom back up the highway at about 95, get to the turnoff. Now there's this winding mountain path, narrow path, where this side is the cliff straight down. Here's the trees. I'm trying to drive up this mountain path, taking notes, vocally taking notes with one speaker with one hand with the steering wheels, trying to glance around at the gorgeous scenery so I can get the scenery right, making my notes, stopping so I can walk around and touch the trees and smell the flowers literally and see what I'm
Yeah.
walking on and walk around and get it right and make it vivid and make it real. And zoom down and catch my last flight, which I missed, but the flight was delayed by fog. So I did get it and got back to San Francisco and got home. Um, and I mean, when I realized that I missed the turnoff, and I knew I had two choices. I could just catch my flight home, or I could do the research. And I said, Fran, you crazy? You came up here to do the research. And I was willing to
Mm.
have to reschedule flights and find a hotel overnight and all that. And risk my life on the mountain road. And I now, because maybe I shouldn't tell that story, but I hope when people get to the section, what is it? I think it's chapter 17.
Mm.
And they read the description. I will tell you a chapter. Yeah, chapter 17. That it will
There you go.
not seem skimpy. That it really will feel vivid with the ferns and the tree bark and this. I hope so. Maybe I shouldn't tell that story. Maybe.
I know that's a great
Yeah.
story. That makes me want to look just for that chapter as
Thank you.
well. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that.
Anyway, so research, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Talk a little bit more about your journalism background. What did you do in the past from a journalistic perspective as well?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to cover politics. It took me a while to get there because most people don't really start out there. I mean, I did. What happened was I went to college at UC Berkeley because I said formative years, California, University of California, Berkeley,
Mm.
and I was going to be a novelist. And a roommate said to me, "Well, if you like writing, why don't you join the school newspaper?" I said, journalism, hack writing. But I did. I tried out at the Daily Californian. I have to have a shout out to them because that changed my life. And I loved it.
Mm.
They gave me an assignment. I did it. I loved it. Spent my college career writing for the Daily Californian and doing some freelance pieces for the San Francisco Examiner. So then I just got hooked and I got a job in New Jersey. Remember, I said my first novel was in New Jersey. Came back east because journalist, you have to live in New York. And so then I just started getting one journalism job after another. And I kind of got into business journalism, not intentionally, but I got a good job at Business Week. And then when I was just sort of tired of oh God, it's September. It's the real. I wasn't. Then I moved to Crane's New York Business. It's the real estate special again, and I got offered my first nonfiction book deal. And I said, "Well, it's a book," and so I quit the daily, weekly grind of journalism, and started on the nonfiction books. Again, so I kept finding new ways to write that would pay me, which was kind of nice, and
Mm.
were exciting
Right.
things to do. And I went to Switzerland, and I finally got to the Democratic and Republican national conventions and to the White House, because I was covering government finance at
Wow.
one point. And, just having a blast and learning new things, and writing and trying different kinds of writing. And really was getting waylaid into journalism, until I finally had to sit down and say, when are you going to seriously get back to writing fiction? I had to end it. I did fill out my last freelance contract and end it, and start seriously turning to fiction because I could not do it in my spare time. I had tried to do it for years. And other people can do it, and God bless them. But I was too intensely in my journalism writing. It was too hard for me to write fiction on the side.
Well, exciting. Again, some early comments for her daughter. What are you hearing from readers? What's inspiring? What's encouraging to hear back? I always encourage our audience to leave feedback and reviews. It's one thing I'm really, really passionate about. We can do that for you as an author. What are you hearing back for her daughter?
Yeah.
What's striking you?
Well, I was just saying, one thing I've heard, which is striking, although painful, is that people who say, "Oh my God, I know somebody who's been in this. I've been in this."
Right.
More pleasantly, I love it when people say, like one reader said, "I just wanted to reach in and grab that father and shake it." Well, I just love that. And I guess I should find it. I mean, I got a wonderful review from Kirkus, and of course now I have to find it. But they said, and I don't want to misquote them. So, are you seeing on my, okay.
Yeah, I'm on your website.
It's on
right
Amazon
now.
also. It's on my website, first page of my website.
Oh, it's on Amazon.
First page of my
Okay.
website, or I can find it too, really quick, because I don't want to misquote. So hang on. Because Kirkus is really wonderful. I mean, they're important, their reviews.
Yeah.
Here it is. A deep dive into the pain of separation and hope for reconciliation, conveyed with grace, realism, and empathy. So that, really means a lot. People
Excellent.
have said, people have talked about how they really relate. I think the one thing that I hear over and over, I hear many things, but one of them is they really feel the way this mother loves her daughter, and they really relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they call it a page turner. I mean, they just really want to dig in. And sure, I love all that, because that's what you want to do. You want to know that you touched somebody, that it was real, that the characters were real,
Right.
Maybe that it was so painful someone had to put it down. That's okay. As long as they pick it up again, let's just, we're writing and we're not putting it in our drawers, we're leaving it on our laptops, whatever. We're putting it out in the world. So it's because we want to reach people. And I would say another thing. In this book particular, I want to reach people who have gone through this, because I just want them to know it's not the women, the victims, the moms. It's not something they did. It's something he's doing. You're not putting your child into dangerous child care. You are doing the best you can. It is not your fault. And, this happening to other people. It's not just you. So I feel like, my books don't always have a message, but I guess this one sort of does.
Nice. Yeah, this is amazing. It's good, Fran. Let's talk about your website. You mentioned that, we can go there and read the reviews and get more information about you. Talk about that, because I do want to ask one more question at the end here, but send us to your website. How do we connect with you?
Thank you. Naturally, I have to make it hard, right? Anyway, hawthornewriter.com. So it's my last name, which has an E on the end. And then the word writer, like with a W. HAWTHORNEWRITER. All one word, .com.
Good.
And also, if you Google me, it'll come up too. But that would be a great way to reach me. And so Hawthorne Writer is kind of my brand. So Instagram, Blue Sky, Hawthorne Writer. LinkedIn, I'm Fran Hawthorne. Goodreads, I'm Fran Hawthorne. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You did mention that you're working on new projects, which is great, and that you bring inspiration from all kinds of sources. The show is Living the Next Chapter, so it's kind of a leading question in the title of my podcast. Can you tell us a little bit more of what you're working on down the road? As we celebrate your book, we want to look ahead, because, we love falling in love with authors. So Can you give us a little sense of what's coming down the road in the future?
Thanks. Well, I do feel like it's a jinx to talk too much, but as I did say, the focus of her daughter is sort of mother-daughter, the book that's just out now. The focus of the one I'm writing is sisters.
That's right.
It is, and that's boy, that's a fraught. I mean, aren't they all fraught? Mother-daughter is fraught.
Yeah.
Romantic relationships are fraught. But I think in a way, siblings and particularly sisters is so fraught. Now, maybe I'm saying that because I'm a sister. I don't know. I don't have a brother. I mean, even if I had a brother, I wouldn't be the brother of a brother. But just from everything, like I know from friends and from my read, sisters is really got a lot of tension points. And you're probably going to live with your sister for more years than you live with your mother, just because in general, your parents die significantly earlier than you do, whereas your siblings and you, one hopes you died within the same time frame, because otherwise someone probably died really young, which is awful. Anyway, and so, and it's set, yet I'd have to choose a new place that I haven't usually set. So it's partly in Philadelphia, where I was born, partly in Albany, where I visited a lot, partly in Westchester County, where I lived briefly. So there you go. I have 3 settings. Okay.
Do you have a time frame at all for readers? Is this year, next year? Do you have an idea?
No, not this year. Next year, wouldn't it be lovely? Would be late next year if it were. I mean, so I'm hoping. I'm on the revision part now, but I go through many revisions. So I would say, I would hope, more realistically, I hope it would be published in 2028. I think that would be realistic. I hope so. So that's a long time to wait, so to stay in love.
Yeah. So the reason I ask these questions as well, Fran, is I just want more time with you. So I'd love for you to come back in the future and talk about new projects, and so we can celebrate and reconnect with you as a listener as well. So that's my open invitation. I just want to have you back.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'll rush then. Okay.
Okay. Well, do your research, because that's how you do it, and we'll just wait and be patient and enjoy all of the books you have right now, especially her daughter. And we will keep listening and keep watching your career and your journey as an author, and celebrating you as well. So thank you for making time to be on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I've really enjoyed this. Okay.
Excellent. Everyone, all the information is always in the show notes. When you buy Fran's books, all of them, because there's a whole bunch there, and her daughter for sure is on the top of the list. Anyway. Leave a great review as well. And let people know why you love it.
And also, you know what? You can say why you didn't like it too. That's okay. I don't want phony reviews. I want honest.
No, we want real reviews. But what connected with you as a reader? Like, put that in the review as well. I think Fran would love to hear your thoughts. Again, Fran, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you again for inviting me. Okay.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. Glad to have you here. I just want to let you know that you can always find out what we're doing live in the moment by going to our YouTube channel. Head over to livingthenextchapter.com. There'll be a link right there. Head over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things that all the YouTubers love to say. And in our YouTube channel, a couple things. You're going to get advanced listens. You're going to get the episodes that we're working on in real time. So we record and post daily on our YouTube channel. I'd love for you to give us a follow over there. As well, we're making playlists. We have over 500 episodes. So finding the right episode for you, we're trying to group things into playlists. So if you like children's books, if you like business, you like historical fiction, we're grouping our authors together to make it a little easier for you to find your favorite next author. So head over to livingthenextchapter.com. And again, I'd love to hear from you. Hearing from the listeners of the show is great. And I just want to say thank you for being a part of the podcast family. And I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate your time and your listen. Take care.